Mr. President, Armenia commends the leadership and competence of the Estonian delegation in negotiating draft resolution L15 entitled The Cooperation between United Nations and the Council of Europe, and welcomes the consensus reached on this draft resolution. As member of the Council of Europe, Armenia reiterates the crucial role of the organization as an important regional platform for cooperation and a repository of a legal and practical knowledge and expertise in promoting democracy, the rule of law and good governance, protecting human rights and fundamental freedoms at regional and national levels. Since its independence 25 years ago, including in the past 15 years of its full membership, Armenia has been a strong beneficiary of and contributor to such cooperation. The Council of Europe has developed sound and effective legal foundation, norms and standards for promoting the declared objectives. Armenia underlines the valuable partnership between the Council of Europe and the United Nations, which in essence gives prominence to the universality of human rights and the common objectives of promoting democracy and the rule of law. We encourage continued cooperation between the Council of Europe and respective bodies of the United Nations, including the Human Rights Council, its special procedures, the UN Human Rights Treaty bodies, and the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. The Council of Europe has firmly placed itself as a valuable contributor to the Universal Periodic Review process within the UN Human Rights Council. The Council of Europe, together with the other regional organizations in Europe, provides sound foundation for effective and advanced regional cooperation in the field of human rights, democracy, and the rule of law, and assisting member states in promoting these objectives at the national level. Such strong foundations at the regional level should provide an opportunity for due assessment of the effective and efficient division of labor between regional and global frameworks of cooperation and scope of engagements at national levels by the respective organizations. This is important for effective use of available resources of the organizations, which are known to be limited, for avoidance of duplication of activities. Mr. President, while engaging in negotiations of the draft resolution under consideration, Armenia was guided by the objective of fully retaining basic European values reflected in the draft, with full respect of all human rights and fundamental freedoms, including the right to freedom of expression and opinion, freedom of media, inter alia of the promotion and protection of journalism, and safety of journalists. As President, however, we should regretfully note that Armenia's proposals were not properly reflected in the text during the negotiations of the draft of the current resolution, both in Strasbourg and New York. The choice of venues for organizing forums of cooperation becomes a very sensitive issue, especially when such venue turns out to be a country which is a member of the Council of Europe and the United Nations, consistently violates human rights of its peoples, shuts out the opponents of the government, imprisons journalists and human rights defenders, and furthermore, at the highest level promotes hatred and intolerance towards other nations and peoples. Such is the case with the choice of Baku as the host of the first Global Forum of Youth Policies. The Baku commitment to youth policies has been adopted without Armenia's presence, simply because the presence of an Armenian in Baku represents a serious physical security risk. This is a result of consistent Armenophobia promoted by the government of Azerbaijan, which glorifies all sorts of atrocities, including beheadings of Armenians. Finally, Mr. President, the cooperation between the Council of Europe and the United Nations is poised to receive added value and prominence in light of the adoption of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Within respective fields of competence, the Council of Europe is strongly positioned to assist its member states in implementation of the Agenda 2030, including, in particular, its Goal 16. Mr. President, in reiterating its strong support to the continued cooperation between the Council of Europe and the United Nations, Armenia remains a traditional co-sponsor of the resolution and calls upon all members to adopt it by consensus. I thank you, Mr. President.